All right, good evening. Welcome to the January 14, 2025 meeting of the Pequannock Township Council. Ms. Marsh.
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Suburban Trends Daily Record and Record newspapers, and distributed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with Township policy.
All right, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of silence for individuals serving our nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and the general welfare for all of the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
Amen.
I also want to mention Mr. Councilman Cole is feeling a little under the weather, so I hope he gets better soon and can get with us next time. And I also just want to give our thoughts to the individuals in California that are suffering through so much difficulty at the moment. So thinking about that, thinking and praying about that. So moving on, number 4, the clerk will please call the roll.
Mrs. Florence Lynch. Here. Mr. Cole is absent. Mrs. Russell. Here. Mr. Syracusa. Here. Mayor Dreese.
Here. All right, number 5, presentations. There are no presentations scheduled for this evening. Item number 6, at this time, are there any reports or comments from any of the volunteers serving our community? Seeing none, we'll go on to number 7. The next item on the agenda is public comments. This comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. Additional time is reserved later in the evening. We welcome comments, suggestions, and questions during this time. However, the purpose of this period is to allow public comment, not to engage in a dialogue. If you have a specific question, please feel free to pose it and then follow up with staff via telephone or email. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized and come to the microphone and provide your name for the record. Yes, sir. Come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Paul Mailer, Pequannock Township. I'm here tonight to honor now former library trustee Barbara Muzio and her more than 30 years of dedicated service to the library. But first, a little story. If you hover on the Resources tab on the New Jersey State Library Trustees Association website, the first thing you'll find listed is the New Jersey Library Manual for Trustees. As such, by all reasonable standards, this state manual is the leading authority for trustee ethical behavior in New Jersey. Therefore, residents in opposition to certain Pequannock Library Board of Trustees actions have every right to hold our trustees accountable to its most basic guidelines. One of those is that trustees, and I'm quoting from the manual, insist that the board and staff behave professionally. In his December 10, 2024 email addressed to this body and to the library trustees, Attorney Douglas Zucker attacked former trustee Barbara Muzio, writing that, quote, once she expressed her dissent with the June statement released by the trustees, Muzio should have acknowledged and supported the majority viewpoint. While we recognize that supporting a majority vote is a basic trustee responsibility, his claim in the context of the release of that statement is without merit for the following reasons. 1, Mr. Zucker ignores NJSA 40:54-15C1, an exclusion for funds restricted for capital projects. He does so in a thinly veiled attempt to justify Councilwoman Russell's, quote, it's the law, end quote, claims that she made at multiple library trustee meetings. Councilwoman Russell made those claims while insisting that the former board had no choice but to return the money to the municipality, when those funds could have and should have been reserved for capital improvements. Had the 2024 board's discussion been held in the sunshine of public review, those conflicting facts would have negated their statement's validity. Number 2, without so much as a public vote or public review, Trustee President White released the statement as though it had been unanimously approved. The truth is that the statement was factually incorrect, had been aggressively challenged by Trustee Muzio, and was improperly released by Board President White as though it had unanimous approval. Number 3, as a result, Trustee Muzio had no responsibility to support a majority decision she deemed untruthful and unethical. The fact that, quote, Ms. Muzio was the only dissenting opinion, end quote, as Attorney Zucker has written, defines her as a courageous defender of the truth. That she lost her position on the board and has been vilified by the Attorney Zucker, and by extension the balance of the 2024 trustee board, is their collective disgrace to own. In addition, Attorney Zucker wrote that the Board of Trustees appropriately relies on the advice of a licensed attorney rather than the uninformed opinions of an interested member of the public with a clear political agenda. While uninformed opinions rarely require 4 pages of written response, I'm happy to have gotten Attorney Zucker's attention. As to a political agenda, I challenge Mr. Zucker and any member of the library board or town council to define or to identify anything political in any of my written or oral comments regarding the library. If there is a political agenda involved, it clearly lies with Mr. Zucker, Councilwoman Russell, and Trustee President White, all of whom treated a board colleague not just disrespectfully, but with vengeful prevarication. So in conclusion, I'm asking this board to consider honoring Trustee Muzio for more than 30 years of dedicated service to the library. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address council? All right, seeing none, we will continue with the agenda. Manager's report. The next item is manager's report. Mr. Brewer.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Within my written report, I have a number of items to go over with the governing body. The first is, as in past years, based upon the statutory schedule for the introduction and adoption of the budget, I've prepared proposed dates for the budget meetings. It largely models what we've done in prior years, with the exception of the Saturday meeting being a little bit longer, or a little bit later in the calendar, in March 1st, to accommodate for some scheduling conflicts, which truncates things a little bit, leading to the highlighted meeting, which would be 2 meetings in 1 week. It's not a problem for the staff or me, but I wanted to float it to council. We don't need an answer yet. If the council does have an answer, that's great. If you still need time to review it and reconcile it with your schedules, we can revisit this at the next council meeting.
I do need time to review my schedule, if it's okay.
Sure. So I'll
I need time to review, but I know for sure that I am not available March 1st.
Okay.
That's the big day. Can we do it earlier or later?
So the 23rd.
What is the window we got?
Yeah, the 23rd is, there's 2 conflicts on the 23rd. I know 2 members of council can't be there for that. Or excuse me, the 22nd, which would move it up to the 15th, which may be a little tight, but if that works for everybody, we can...
15th works for me. March, right?
March 15th is a Saturday?
Yes. Yeah, it's our one big powwow about the budget. We all get together and go through the whole thing, so it's a process.
We have to answer you on the first.
It's tough to do it at night.
We have to answer you on the
pick one
first
Saturday and one through.
Yeah, the Saturday is really kind of the anchor to the whole schedule, as well as the statutorily required introduction and adoption dates. We do it so that we have 2 weeks afloat in case there's any issues.
Saturday, March 1st. So you said the 22nd is?
22nd is out, because I know two members of council can't make that. So that leaves us with the 15th.
And I guess after the 8th would be no good, right? That's pushing it too far?
Yeah, after the first week, we end up pushing it too far. And we limit our ability to discuss.
Can we make it by the 15th? Can you make it?
We could.
You said it's a little tight, right?
We will get it done.
guess if it's got to be the 15th.
Is there anyone that has a conflict?
February or March?
March. February 15th.
February.
Oh, you're looking at the wrong
We're
date.
moving it up.
Hold on.
That's what I was wondering. I was like,
Yeah, February 15th.
February 15th.
And you need me to answer that now.
That's the weekend of Valentine's Day.
yeah, that's Valentine's week.
Yeah, that's,
Valentine's Day Saturday.
No Valentine's Day.
I don't want to spend it
It's
with you.
Friday.
I mean, I like you,
It's
but...
the morning. It's the morning.
Just so you know, Valentine's
my
Day
wife.
is Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't care about Valentine's Day, for the record.
So noted.
But I don't know if I can answer right
That,
now.
I can do that. I mean, but let's.
So
do what
if it's
everybody
all right
else
with
can do.
council, what I'll do is I'll revise the schedule, anticipating the anchor date being February 15th, and bring it back on the 28th.
All right, if I have a problem, I will email you tomorrow. I need to look at my other calendar.
And then it will become, if there are problems on the 15th, then it will become who can make the most at that point. Because we gotta move.
I'm trying to make it work, February 15th.
Yeah, I can make that move. Move something, so it's not a big...
I think I can.
All right. Moving on, the next item, just for the benefit of a public presentation of a status update, the township is in the process of a PFAS mitigation project associated with one of the potable wells, which was taken offline several years ago prior to the threshold being implemented by the NJDEP. Our goal was to secure as much money from outside sources to support the project as possible. In 2024, through a congressionally directed spending, formerly known as earmark, Congresswoman Sherrill's office identified $1.1 million in the federal budget to assist the township of Pequannock's water system.
Thank you.
The budget was supposed to be adopted in September of last year, but as we know, the federal government doesn't hold the strict schedule that we're trying to with our budget. So, as we've been the subject of continuing resolutions that have not included that appropriation, and who knows what the future holds, we'll next kind of review this in March or April. Additionally, we made application through the New Jersey iBank, which is formerly the New Jersey Infrastructure Trust, which calls for a couple of benefits. The first, half of the principal would be without interest, and the other half of the principal would be at an interest rate that's more favorable than we could secure in the outside market. And if you get in early, there's an opportunity for principal forgiveness with a maximum of $10 million to be allocated among all the towns that make application. So we would hope to get $1 million, maybe $2 million, and we have a budget schedule or a bidding schedule constructed to take advantage of their calendar, which is a fiscal year and begins in July. So we currently have a projected schedule of advertising the project in March, opening bids in May with an award in July. We're communicating with Congresswoman Sherrill's office, communicating with iBank. One of the downfalls of going through the iBank is there are additional costs, so there will be additional professional services fees, because 100% of inspection is required, construction inspection, and the inspector there all the time. But if it costs us an extra, 100 or 2,000 to save on hundreds of thousands of interest and possibly
Cheaper than
millions of
interest.
principal, the cost benefit is there. It's administratively challenging to deal with the state in this regard. But bottom line is, the goal is to have the project out to bid in 2025 with an award and maximize as much money from either the federal budget or the state of New Jersey to decrease the impact on the ratepayers in the township of Pequannock. I'll keep everybody updated as we proceed through with the schedule, and hopefully the federal budget will include the appropriation that the Congresswoman has identified for us. With respect to historic preservation projects, again, just an update as we initiate the year, we will be opening bids for the restoration of the railroad station. The council may recall that previously that was, we received bids for that were significantly beyond which the grant and the budget allowed. We went back to the County of Morris's Open Space, our Historic Preservation Trust Fund Committee, and renewed an application to get additional funds from them. They were kind enough to grant them, so hopefully we get good bids back on the 16th and make an award. We received an award for the landscape plan at the Martin Berry House, so that is underway with the goal of having documents in to the county so an application can be made for construction documents. So the first step in the phase is to do a plan. Phase 2 is you go ask for construction documents. Phase 3, based on those construction documents, you ask for a construction grant. As we found success, we are grateful to the county and the trust fund for all their support of this, and we really hope we get good numbers on the train station, because if you look at it on close inspection, you see the exterior between the roof and the paint.
It needs help.
It needs help. It needs stabilization, so we're grateful for the 75% support there. And then lastly, the final item in my report is with respect to the membership requirements for junior firefighters, which is scheduled for discussion. So I'll be happy to try to answer any questions, otherwise that concludes my report.
All right, any comments from council on the report?
Not at this time.
I would just like to say, thank you for pushing this iBank thing in Congressman Sherrill's office. I know it's a lot more follow-up paperwork, but it helps us with the funds in town, so.
Big money, but yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's always good to get somebody else's money to do this. And the junior fire membership, I think that's a good idea. If we can get volunteers, it's hard, so.
Yes.
If we get people interested.
Yeah, that's, I'll do my shtick on that a little later, but.
So, all right, moving on. There are no public hearings scheduled for this evening. There's no ordinances to be introduced. The next item is resolutions. Ms. Marsh.
Beginning with Resolution R 2025-54, releasing Phillips Edison and Company and Plaza 23 Station LLC from performance guarantee. 2025-55, authorizing tax office refunds, overpayments, or cancellations. And 2025-56, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the January 9th, 2025 bill list and 2018 FEMA elevation escrow list.
Okay, thank you. Are there any comments on the resolutions from council?
No.
Hearing none, is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolutions R 2025-54 through R 2025-56.
I'll second.
All right, roll call, please.
Mrs. Lawrence Lynch?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa?
Yes.
Mayor Dreesy?
Yes. Yes. Next item on the agenda is items for discussion. So this is the fire department junior fighters membership.
Yes, the origin of this is there is a individual who wants to join the township's fire department as a junior firefighter. Unfortunately, the individual lives outside the municipal border but close. So the respective company chiefs got together and made a request of me that I recommend that there be a change in ordinance. Currently, the municipal ordinance precludes membership from anyone that does not reside within the municipal boundary. So I don't see a downside. I reviewed it with the company chiefs. With the status of volunteers and getting people to participate in things, I think any barrier we can remove to enhance our membership serves our community. I know of a volunteer in the first aid squad that lives in eastern Essex County, but likes the first aid squad. So the individual comes up on weekends and rides. I can't see a downside. So unless the council,
I can't either. I mean, we need volunteers. Just out of curiosity, how far away are they?
Not far.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the recommended change, if the council approves it, which would have to be introduced via an ordinance on the 28th, is that it be a resident of the township of Pequannock or a contiguous municipality.
Okay, perfect.
But obviously, juniors are 14 to 18, so they're not driving, so they got to work out those logistics.
I don't have a problem
Their parents
with
aren't going to want to drive them far away.
But I'll leave it to them and the members of the fire department.
Right, to figure it out. Yeah,
More's
You
better.
should be grateful that he
yes.
wants to join.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a
That's the way I
yes.
look at it, so.
As long as it's contiguous, I'm fine with that.
Good. Excellent. Thank you all. An ordinance will be prepared for potential introduction on the 28th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. Good idea. Thank you to the fire companies for proposing that. So, thank you to the fire chiefs. All right, there's no reports or notices this evening. The next item on the agenda is council reports and announcements. Councilwoman Flores Lynch.
All right. Speaking of the fire department, as most of you may know, there was a fire today in Lincoln Park earlier today, a house fire. Both our firehouses went out in response as mutual aid. Big response from Pequannock, at least 10 from each. Don't quote me on the numbers, but, and thank God they were there because Lincoln Park didn't have a lot, So, I mean, I'm grateful for our volunteers, so I don't think anyone was hurt, but it was a mess, so. All right, I think the house was destroyed, right?
It was a total loss.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so thank you for everyone on that. Let's see, my Senior Citizen Advisory Committee, they will be meeting here tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So that'll be their first meeting of the year. Historic District Commission, we did have our first meeting, and I know, Adam, you covered most of the things, but just to give you a quick highlight, they went through their reorganization meeting. I don't think there was any changes. Dave Wisniewski is the commission chair. Elaine Stapp will be the vice chair. Ryan Lombardi is the commission secretary. I believe that was all passed on to you, correct? Okay. And there were open space advisory board liaison. They were recommending Patricia Chiarello, but they thought the town council had to approve that. So I guess
It's in a council appointment.
right. Let's see. Then, I'll just go over some of the highlights. They did their meeting schedule for the remainder of the year. Just for everyone's information, they meet at the Pompton Plains Railroad Station. It will be closed, as Mr. Brewer brought up, for renovations once that project hopefully starts. At that time, they'll be meeting in the Martin Berry House. And if that's not available, they'll do the Pequannock Library History Room. So that's all been arranged. Just so you know, the museum will be open on the second and fourth Sunday of each month, and open to the public from 12 to 3, of course, when there's work going on, possibly not, but more to come on that. What else did they want me to speak up about? You probably know every year we do the Pathways of History. They plan on doing 2 weekends for the Pathways in 2025, one in May and October. And it's also the 250th they're planning for, the county was doing the planning for the American Revolution 250th anniversary, so we have a lot of projects in the works like that. It's not just like a one-day event or a one-weekend event. It goes on for quite a while in 24, 25, and beyond. So one of the things they're working on that they wanted me to bring up is the Liberty poll, which is something that they're working on with the First Reformed Church. More to come on that, but just to kind of let you know about that. And unless anybody has any other specific questions, Adam already covered that the grant, they're going to be opening the bids for the restoration at the railroad station. So if no one has any more on that, I'll move along to the planning board. They met last night. No changes in officers there either. Angelo Caputo is the chair. John Magella is the vice chair. They just really had 2 things. They went through the rules, the meeting dates. The planning board meeting dates did get moved to the second month. They're only meeting once a month, and it's the second Monday of the month rather than it used to be the first and third. That's because I believe our planner was not available. Let's see what else. And then there was just 2 items on the agenda. One was a resolution for a subdivision that they had to just vote on and finalize, and the other one was a request for an extension on a subdivision. They needed the extension to record the deed, so the attorney was here just to ask for the extension on that, which was granted. And that's it on the planning board, unless you have questions. And then I just wanted to echo what our mayor said about praying for everyone in the California fires. I also just wanted to mention, I guess we had a big JCP&L outage, and last I heard there was still 20 customers out. I'm assuming they're all up now.
They were all restored shortly after.
And one question that came up about, you had it in your weekly report about the the walking path with the railings. When you were talking about the southern Wayne end with the railings being constructed, that had nothing to do with the other railings that we were talking about removing, right?
No,
Or
that's-
that's not going to be done until after the whole project's complete?
So we are working on the agreement between the township and the county park commission in order to get access to make the improvements over by the swim lanes at
Yeah,
Phoebe Park.
good.
This is the specific railings over the bridge,
Okay.
that accompany the bridge into.
Yeah. And that's what I figured. Somebody had asked me, and I said, no, that's separate. And then those other rails are getting removed, though, eventually for the swim lanes, for the.
That is the plan,
Yeah,
yes.
we just don't know.
Subject to the budget, which the council has to
Right.
approve, and all the other
So we don't know if
procedural
that's
steps,
going
yes.
to, because somebody had asked me if that was going to happen before swim season, and I said, I hope so. But I don't know. Yeah.
I'm 50/50.
Okay. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
All right, Councilwoman, thank you. Councilman Cole is not here. Hopefully, you get better and you come see us next time. We miss you. Councilwoman Russell.
Thank you. My turn already?
Yes.
So my first aid squad met last night. They had 170 calls for December. 49 of them were to Cedar Crest. Just to give you an idea of how many times they go to Cedar Crest, in 2019 they went to Cedar Crest 78 times. In 2024 they went to Cedar Crest over 400 times. And sometimes it's just because somebody has a stomach ache. So I know Adam had went up there, and hopefully we can get this rectified so that our first aid is not drained. Morris County 200 Club is still taking scholarship applications up until the 28th. Library Board meets tomorrow. The environmental, somebody had put in their application afterwards. I know with commissions, we're okay to appoint afterwards because they felt they needed it, correct? Usually with commissions, we do.
With statutory boards, he said you do, yes.
Correct. So, did you all get a chance to review that application?
Or the one that she had emailed us, I came in late.
Yes. For the environmental.
Okay.
Somebody came in
yes.
late, and the head of the environmental requested, they could always use it, for quorums and stuff like that. Sometimes a lot of people don't make it. And they do a lot of work. It really is. So I'd like to add him on for them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I know you were just talking about if it's,
I have to look and see if that's a mayoral appointment or a council appointment.
Oh, okay.
Is it council appointment? I think so. Okay.
Yeah, I think the only...
I know you were talking about statutory, if they need it. What if, I know someone today had reached out about putting in an application for one of the committees.
Yeah, but we said we weren't going to do that, only for the commissions. We said
Did
that
we
a
say
couple
that?
years ago, yes, that we were only...
I mean, is there a reason?
Because then people are doing it late and it becomes a...
Right, the only reason I asked, there's one or, the group I know lost some people, and it was a senior citizen advisory group, and
Maybe we decided we were going to do that every 6 months.
I'll invite them, never mind. They can come to the meetings, and they can just wait
Yeah.
for June. I never saw a problem with it.
Environmental also, I don't have his name, I apologize, but Eagle Scout he came in, he's doing that dog park. So the Environmental Club does collect plastic bags for Trex benches, so I had suggested that could be a great donation for that, so hopefully. And
Where's
there's
that
also
Lyman Park.
a GoFundMe, the new dog park. There's also a GoFundMe for him, so if you feel like someone will do it. Met with my county preservation trust committee. It's likely that they're going to be putting out a referendum that'll go on the ballot so that open space money to the county can be used for stewardship with your open space areas. So we are reviewing the wording on that on our next meeting on the 27th, but that'll be great because it could work towards invasive species, dredging, anything that can help our open space or our parks that needs to be done. Not for building, it won't allow building of extra parking lots or stuff like that, but anything to help the invasive species. And so I think that's a really good thing because what they deemed is that the open space was created to grab all the open space, and as it's gone in Morris County, basically most of it
there's not a lot left. So now you can use the money to take care of what we've already purchased, which I think is wonderful. And there's a committee from about 7 different towns. I had it right here. And we all meet and we all discuss it. And everybody has their own opinions, but it's been a lot of hard work, but it's really worked out well. So look for that on your ballot.
Okay.
That's all I got.
All right, Councilwoman, thank you. Councilman Siracusa.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I had 2 meetings last week and this week. The first was the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. A lot of great people doing a lot of great things, so this is my first exposure to that, and I was proud to be there. Biggest takeaway with the Parks and Recreation was they're looking for lifeguards, so the more lifeguards, the better. The minimum age of that is 15 years old, so they're exploring options on how to recruit more lifeguards, and I think training will be taken care of by the Parks and Rec schedule, however they're going to do it. The second committee was the open space. Biggest takeaway that I got from that was prioritizing the proposed project list. So there's about 10 projects that they asked the members to come back with on priorities on where they want to focus the efforts for the year. Some really great things on there, and again, a lot of great people doing some great things for our town. So thank you to them. That's all I have.
All right, Councilman, thank you. A couple things from me. I did not have any committees that met, except I was on the planning board, but you heard that from Melissa. Councilman Siracusa, I'd like to welcome you to the first official meeting.
Well, thanks, sir.
Good to see you. Good to have you here. Thank you.
Much.
I also like to give a shout out to our police department. There's a couple of things that happened in town over the last couple of weeks that were kind of scary. So I just thank them for their responsiveness. They always seem to be on top of things, so thank you to them. The fire department also, I know Melissa mentioned one thing, and they responded to an accident the other day on Route 23. I think they cut somebody out of a car or something, right? So there was it was a pretty bad scene, so I'm thankful they have the equipment to do it and they know how to do it. So thank you to all our volunteers for that. Eagle Scout project, we have another Eagle Scout project in town, so this is great. We seem to have a lot of those, which is very nice. And I just want to give a thank you to all the township employees that work in the building. Everybody that works here sets up the meeting. Ms. Carroll, Mr. Brewer.
That would be the deputy clerk, not me.
And everybody that works downstairs. They really do a great job, and this is a really great town to live in. So I'm thankful I'm here. So.
I'm thankful you're here, too.
You are?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, there's one.
We're all
All right, next on the agenda is public comment. As a reminder, we welcome comments, suggestions, and questions rather than dialogue. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized and come to the microphone and provide your name for the record. Come on up.
Megan Dempsey. Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Thank you. I just wanted to say congratulations to Councilman Siracusa. Great to see you up here, and also Councilman Cole. Sorry to hear he's not feeling well. I had intended to be here for your swearing-in ceremony, but I showed up at 7 o'clock in the blistering wind and was like, why are the doors locked? I tried not to take it personally, and then realized I had completely missed the meeting. I was like, they locked me out?
You are not the only one.
And I literally had looked the day before and saw it was at 6 o'clock, so it was totally on me. Anyway, congratulations, and I hope you have a successful time on the council. I also wanted to publicly thank the police department, but particularly for the very strong relationship and support that they show to the school district. So my 5th grader at Hillview came home the day of the volleyball game. They have a big volleyball game, students versus teachers, and apparently Detective Giuliano was on his team, which was like huge for them, and he said there were officers on all the teams, and then I realized I wasn't sure if he meant police officers or the district security guards, but regardless, I know that they do a lot of rounds of the schools and really trying to build a very positive relationship with the students so that if there is any time they need them for anything, known. They kind of have that trust with the kids and that great relationship, and that's been ongoing for years. So I just really appreciate that as a parent, because I know it makes our schools safer, and I just wanted to, thank them all for being involved in those kinds of things where they can, show the kids that they're real people and, they can trust them. And then lastly, I did just want to express my disappointment and frustration that the council did not change the liaison to the library trustees. There have been numerous concerns raised by members of the public and former trustees about the behavior of Councilwoman Russell in that role, and it's kind of disheartening to see that the council didn't seem to take the community's concerns into effect when making that appointment this year. So I did just want to state that for the record. Thank you, and have a great night.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I also think it's like when we were young, our parents used to say, if you do something bad, he's going to come and get you, right? So with the police, and that's like the worst thing you can do, because then you chase them away. So hopefully that has kind of stopped. So, anybody else? Yes, sir.
Again, Paul Mailer, Pequannock resident. With regard to ambulance visits to Cedar Crest, I understand from a friend, and I went looking for the memorandum on the website and couldn't find it, but I understand that the approval memorandum for Cedar Crest had an additional driveway, some kind of entrance that didn't require the ambulances to use Route 23. And I also understand that the ambulances have some kind of electronic clicker where they can change the light to turn across the highway, which I guess gets them there quicker. Sounds kind of dangerous to me, but these are volunteers in those ambulances to going across the highway. So if that's true, if Cedar Crest was responsible for a separate roadway, we should make them do it.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure what the topography might be, but would be a good idea. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I guess that's something we can look into. I don't know if you've looked into that yet, but...
No, I've never seen it in the review of the approval.
Okay, right. Well, we'll check and see if it's there.
They were supposed to have their own.
So, anybody else? No? Okay. Come on up. I didn't see you, sorry. I didn't see you wave your hand.
I guess I didn't wave it high enough. Well, first of all, I want to thank the township for putting our flag at half-staff in honor of Jimmy Carter. And we all know he died when he was, he lived to be 100, and all the incredible accomplishments, his humanitarian, his presidency, Nobel Peace Prize. So I want to honor that, and I'm really glad the flag is at half-staff. That's the first thing. Then the second thing, one of the other comments I want to make, I want to thank, this is the last week of President Biden's administration, and I want to thank President Biden for bringing the country back, helping to solve the COVID crisis, his leadership, NATO, all sorts of incredible things that he has done. Yes, there's problems, there always are, but he brought the country together. There weren't millions of people dying from COVID as soon as we got in control of that. And also I want to agree with what's going on in California and to send our commitment to help California in these crises, which leads me to a question about New Jersey and wildfires, and that would be, we've had droughts here for a number of years now, and I know there's a problem with fires because of all the, here in New Jersey, with all the dry vegetation. And so what I'm curious at is New Jersey, or do we know of programs in New Jersey that I have missed has there been something presented in New Jersey as well as locally here in order to hopefully, if there is a fire, mitigate so we don't get into a California kind of situation? Just a question. The other thing I would like two things. I support what Paul Mahler is saying, and I'm also supporting what Megan Dempson said at the end about the library. And I want to honor Barbara Muzio for all her hard work. First of all, just to get a library, the building of the library itself. And I love that history of where she got lots of people to carry the books from here, walking to the new library. I think that history is incredible. So, but my concern too is Kyle Russell is now the deputy mayor. And it sounds to me like when she gives reports about all the different committees that she's on, maybe being the liaison to the library board might be something that she should resign from because of her time involved in being deputy mayor, as well as the complaints that, the community have sounded about some of the things that have happened at the library. So, the other two things, like wildlife, but wildfires. One other thing is, we talked about trying to figure out solutions to all the different congestion that happens, not only at the library with the parking lot, but I was wondering, is anyone either on the council or at the library setting up a committee between the schools and the council and the town in order to help solve that problem? I'm aware that people are concerned that somebody's going to get hurt, that there have been a couple accidents. So I'm just curious if anything is in the works. So thank you very much.
Right, thank you. Yeah, I know New Jersey has a fire service, and they seem to do a good job. I mean, I don't know much about them, but I know they have a dedicated service for that.
Okay.
So I'm sure they keep an eye on things. In order to honor Barbara Musso, we definitely can talk about it. We'll talk to Adam about that. And then the library parking lot. I guess you're talking about the school when the school gets out.
Yes.
I think one of the biggest problems there is people turning around in Ryan Lane, which they're not supposed to do, right? Because that kind of clogs things up.
Oh, you're making U-turns there?
Yeah, that kind of.
Is that because they don't want to cross the middle?
I don't know. Well, you got to. If you want to talk, you got to come up. Sorry, but the couple times I've driven through there, is traffic kind of goes slow, but then when somebody wants to quick turn around and come back, it kind of shuts everything down, and I think that's a bit of an issue. So I don't know what we can do to address that, but.
Well, I thought the idea that a lot of it is also because these big cars, you can't see when you come out of the library parking lot, so there's a little bit more to it.
But I think people should let people in more than they do. Like, I mean, me personally, I like to kind of like leave a space in front of the car, my truck, and just let somebody come in. I mean, that would be nice if everybody in town could let somebody in front of you. I think we can solve a lot of this problem. So, yeah. So, all right, we can check with the police department, I guess, right, and see if there's anything we can do.
They're aware of the situation and monitoring the parking.
Okay.
Well, then that kind of solves it. Karen Randolph, Pequannock. I got a text from Kyle. Thank you for the appointment to the Environmental Commission. And you told us about the Eagle Scout, Evan. I'm going to get it. Breyer.
Yeah, I have it on the thing. I just couldn't look it up.
Right, yeah. So my question would be, what's going to happen to the old dog park, and are there any, openings for ideas there? Not that I have any yet, but we'd have to talk about it on the committee, on the commission. So that was it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, as far as the old dog park, I don't know if we can do anything there, right? I mean, we're moving it for a reason.
Yeah, the plan would be to take it down.
And just not put anything there.
Return it to park space, which the Environmental Commission has done a fabulous job with various projects, so ideas and options would happily be entertained.
Yeah, definitely talk about it in committee, so. Anything else for public comment? All right, seeing none, move on with the agenda. There are no minutes presented for approval. There's no items for closed session. There being no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned at 7:44.